Good morning, everybody, or good evening, regardless of where you are in the world. It's very nice to see everyone again for another Orchestry webinar. Now, today we are going to talk about reducing risk and waste in Microsoft 365. Big discussion around OneDrive, governance, sharing links, all of that good stuff. We're going to talk about license optimization, and we're also going to talk about some role-based access capabilities as well. And the reason that we're doing with this webinar is kind of twofold. First of all, a little bit around kind of the challenges that organizations are facing, especially on the OneDrive and the licensing side. And the other thing that we are going to talk about is we have a new plan of Orchestry, a more powerful, upgraded version called the enterprise version. So you're going to get a little bit of both here, folks. You're going to get a little bit of general conversation around some of the challenges that we've seen organizations face. We'll also show you some of the ways that Orchestry can help you in those particular pieces and in those particular areas. So again, if you've never been to an Orchestry webinar before, we like to keep this as engaging as possible. Feel free to use the chat. We always start our webinars to find out where everyone is from. So if you just want to type down in the chat where you're joining us today, it's always a good way to get people engaged and get started, especially if it's early in the morning for you folks as well. So a little bit about today. My name is Michael Basarik. I will be your host for this webinar. Now, usually it's myself and David Francoeur. Unfortunately, David Francoeur is on a plane today because he's been here in Vancouver for the last couple of days talking about product things with me. So Dave is on a plane. I told him to join as he makes the flight from Vancouver back to Toronto. But you're stuck with me today, unfortunately, folks, but that's okay. I think we're going to have a great time regardless. So my name is Michael Basarik. I'm one of the founders and the CEO here at Orchestry. Lots of experience in Microsoft 365 and SharePoint. I know that SharePoint just had its 25-year anniversary, I think a couple of days ago, if people looked at all of that. I've been working in the Microsoft 365 space and with SharePoint ever since I came here to Canada in 2008. So a long time, far longer than probably one would expect. Again, 7 times former Microsoft SharePoint MVP, not anymore because I'm too busy running a company. But again, hugely passionate about helping organizations get the best out of Microsoft 365 and SharePoint. And my claim to fame was before this, I used to be a professional chef. I spent about 6 years cooking lots of different restaurants all around the world, including a couple of 3 Michelin star restaurants as well. So if you ever want to talk to me about food, I am your person. I will talk your ear off about that as well. A little bit about Orchestry. So we are a platform, sits on top of Microsoft 365. Really what we want you to do, or what we're trying to do, is to help you get the best out of your Microsoft 365 in investment. And we know as Microsoft 365 grows and gets more complicated, it's more difficult for some of you as administrators to be able to manage the platform through here. It's also more difficult for end users to be able to get value out of the platform. So again, with Orchestry, we have a range of capabilities. I'm not going to do a hard sales pitch on you today. We're not going to go through all of them. But today we are going to talk a little bit around some of the capabilities we have around OneDrive, license management, and role-based access control through here as well. If you do have any questions, again, feel free to go through the chat, reach out to me directly. We're more than happy to help. Again, get engaged, use the chat button as well. We see people in here. Think of this essentially as free consulting on your side. If you have any questions, just ask. You'll see me looking down. So if you see me, I'm not typing in other messages. I hate when you're on a call with someone and you can see them typing. I'm not doing that. I'm doing this webinar, but you'll probably see me looking at the chat, seeing but I answer some of the questions as well through here. All right. And follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, all of that good stuff. We have some really amazing content and some really amazing talented people here as well. So today's agenda, we're going to cover 3 things. So the first thing we're going to talk about is around OneDrive, particularly OneDrive governance and automation. What we have heard from our customers, especially now that Copilot is here, and more people are using Copilot, and now Copilot can also read content in people's OneDrives. It's kind of this ungoverned Wild West. Now, we saw that previously with Teams and SharePoint and everything else. Microsoft has done a really good job in terms of producing some capabilities around that. Obviously, we've built on top of that with Orchestry. But with OneDrive, it's a bit of a different story. It's kind of like this forgotten child almost. And it's becoming hugely problematic for a lot of organizations. So we're going to talk about some of the challenges that we've seen. I'll definitely ask you folks on the call if they resonate with you. We'll talk about how you can do this out of the box, and then we'll show you how we approach this with Orchestry, because we've taken kind of the best of what we've done with workspace automations within our platform and applied that to OneDrive as well. And we have customers that have tens or hundreds of thousands of Teams or SharePoint sites, but they also have tens or hundreds of thousands of OneDrives as well. So being able to manage that, particularly now with Copilot, being able to surface that content is really important. The next thing that we're going to talk about is everyone's favorite topic, is licensing in Microsoft. If you folks have never delved into the world of Microsoft licensing, I don't think there's enough AI power on Earth to be able to understand it. So we are going to try to do that. We've talked with a lot of customers, and we've developed some capabilities around helping you not only understand your licensing, but how can we save and optimize you money on Microsoft 365 licensing? Because again, you don't want to pay for things that you're not necessarily using. And to be honest with you, Microsoft makes it quite easy for you to be able to do things like not unassigned licenses to people that have left, or assign multiple licenses with the same features that you don't really need, or potentially have a whole bunch of licenses that you've bought, you don't even know those licenses exist, and you're paying Microsoft for no apparent reason. So we're going to talk again about how we approach licensing, some of the out-of-the-box capabilities through there, and then how we have created a solution within Orchestry, which is going to proactively help you manage and understand your licensing spend, and hopefully save you money that you can then use on some better things, right? Don't give money to Microsoft for things that you're not using. Use those funds to maybe upgrade to some security capabilities, or buy Copilot, for instance. Microsoft would be very happy if you do. Then we'll talk about kind of a specific Orchestry capability around role-based access. Again, if you are an Orchestry customer, or for instance, you're thinking about becoming an Orchestry customer, role-based access is something that we've been asked a lot about. So we're going to talk about that in the context of the Orchestry platform. And then I'm going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek as well in terms of what's coming next. Now, the reason that we're doing this webinar is, again, we have a new kind of plan of Orchestry. So for those current customers, I'm sure someone has been in touch. If not, one of our amazing customer success folks will be in touch through here. We're calling it the enterprise plan through here. Again, we are still investing very heavily in our previous versions of Orchestry, the professional version, Starter, which used to be called Beacon. But for enterprise, we're really taking it to another level and really adding additional features and capabilities that we know organizations need. You don't need to be an enterprise to use the enterprise version. In fact, most of our customers are not. But what we've tried to do is really create kind of some alternate, modules for you folks that you can essentially go and leverage and use. And we've just launched the enterprise plan a couple of weeks ago, with license optimization, OneDrive coverage, and role-based access coming. But there's a whole range of additional capabilities that we are launching with very, very soon, which I'll talk about as well. All right, so let's talk about OneDrive. And again, I think what we've heard from our customers, and again, if you've got thoughts, put them into the chat. It really is the biggest governance blind spot for most organizations. So when we talk to customers, and again, I think we spoke to about 100 different customers, what we find is kind of like OneDrive just kind of is in the background. It kind of grows. It hides activities through there. On the Microsoft side as well, there are some reports around OneDrive. Honestly, it's a bit all over the place, right? There's not really that same experience that you get in terms of using Teams and SharePoint sites. For OneDrives, you have to go to the person's user profile to view things. If you want to see kind of more OneDrive reports, you have to go into the usage area and see those. So when we were speaking to customers, we saw this being really kind of a gap in terms of what they're essentially doing. And most of the admins that we spoke to were either using PowerShell and trying to use that. So we obviously think there's a better experience there. The other thing as well from OneDrive is around sharing links, right? Now, the way that OneDrive works is every time you go and you share something, let's say in a Teams one-to-one conversation, right? Maybe you have a meeting that's recorded to your OneDrive, for instance. Most of the time, sharing links are created, and OneDrives have tens or hundreds of thousands of sharing links. Now, again, this might have not have been a problem before, but with Copilot being able to reason not just over SharePoint content, but now OneDrive content, this is becoming a challenge. And out of the box, particularly on the SharePoint, on the sharing link side, there's no real way to be able to go and run an access review. It's not available in SharePoint Advanced Management at the moment, for instance. So what we're finding is lots of organizations have a bunch of overshared content now, which is either being shown in search or is coming out within Copilot or any AI initiative that you can essentially see. The other thing, again, what we find is around orphaned or inactive OneDrives as well through here. So again, we find with a lot of organizations, people come, people go, and then basically what happens through there is that those OneDrives just kind of sit forever. So again, the content stays there forever. People just sit silently. It becomes a huge issue. So ultimately, what we found was, Copilot and search are going to surface that content within OneDrive. A lot of people think that OneDrive is just this personal folder, which is just for them. A lot of people have also a lot of crazy stuff on their OneDrives because typically it's also linked to their desktop, right? So again, people tend to maybe download or upload things to their OneDrive, which shouldn't really be organizational content. And what we really found is, again, Teams and SharePoint are governed relatively well, very well if you're using Orchestry, but OneDrives are not. So how did we get around this through here? So what did we release? And again, I'll jump into a demo here and we'll come back. So the first thing is, again, trying to understand what you have. So now the same experience that we had with Orchestry from a workspace reporting perspective as well, you can now see in OneDrive. So we scan all of the OneDrives, we understand the owners, we integrate that with our Orchestry insights and risk ratings through here. The other thing is we do some really deep reporting. We help you understand the documents, the file counts. The big thing is the sharing links as well through here. We're also introducing a OneDrive review automation. For those folks who are having major challenges with people ripping through their OneDrive storage, and I know a lot of organizations do that. We can now help you with that. And the automations that we have is kind of a new type of automation that we have within Orchestry also. So again, it's not just an automation that's going to run on a particular cadence, like once every 30 days. This is one of our first automations, and there'll be many more to come that's going to run on an activity or on an event. And in this case, you can set up Orchestry to say, if someone goes and approaches, let's say 75% of their OneDrive storage, fire off what we call a OneDrive review through here. The other thing that we also have from OneDrive is we now expose some of that information to the end users through the Orchestry app in Teams. So again, it's a really nice way to help your users better proactively manage their OneDrives through here as well. Some sharing links and cleanup, integrated risk rating as well. So again, we try to help you understand those risks as well through here. In terms of the risk rating, so Chris, can the risk rating link to Purview? We don't at the moment. We look at some Purview items, but I'll talk about that, Chris, in a moment, because I think one of the things we are looking at here is around identifying sensitive information types in OneDrives, showing you those sits, and then applying kind of a risk rating, or even giving you the ability to fire off an automation based on that as well. But let me know if that answers your question, and we'll get into a demo here in a second as well. So what does this look like? So again, first thing we have is you're going to see a beautiful list of all of your OneDrives that you have through here, who they are, the risk rating, the assigned policies, also owners. This is very bizarre. You think that most OneDrives have a single owner. What we're finding with a lot of organizations is that people have multiple owners through here, which is not the best basically thing as well. We also have our insights that run on here as well to help you understand kind of more additional context as well through here as well. We also have a number of reports on OneDrive. So all of your OneDrives, inactive, unlicensed OneDrive, storage and content, sharing links, and all details. Greg, to answer your question, when might we get the export feature? I'm pretty sure that's being worked on right now. So soon-ish. I'll find out for you, but I know it's a really common thing. So you'll be able to export all of this information as well through here. We are working on that. The other thing as well is the ability for you to click into a particular OneDrive. So we're going to show you some metrics through here, the storage used, the quota, how many files, some insights, some kind of key information through here. Chris, this might answer your question. We also want to put in sensitive information types from Purview as well through here. We're trying to work out how to do that because Microsoft just doesn't make it easy. And again, you don't want to see all of the sensitive information. You want to have it targeted to the sits that you've defined within Purview, but that is coming for sure. And once we roll it out to OneDrive, we'll roll that out to workspaces as well going forward. The final thing is also the ability for you folks to be able to show your end users their OneDrive state. Now, again, you've got the option like you always do within Orchestry, but we found this really effective for users to be able to understand their OneDrive as well. So again, you can show them the storage. They can also see sharing links, and your end users now, or your OneDrive owners, can then go and maybe clean up storage on their side as well, right? So lots and lots of good stuff as well through here. All right, let me keep going. And then the final thing, which we'll jump into, is what we call a OneDrive review. I think this is the killer feature for me. That ability now for you folks to be able to say, hey, you've got a OneDrive and we want you to go and review those pieces. As remember, with SharePoint Advanced Management, you can do that on SharePoint sites and on Teams. There's some fairly significant limitations around SAM, but it's not at all possible with OneDrive at all. Now we can make it possible within Orchestry. Okay. So let's jump into a demo here, folks. It's much more interesting. Maybe have a drink here. All right, hopefully you can see my screen. If you haven't seen Orchestry before, it's kind of like what Orchestry sits. There's a bunch of stuff. We're not going to go through all of it. But if current Orchestry customers or potential customers, again, we have a lot of reports that we have around workspaces. And we call workspaces anything that's a team site, communication channel, classic site, private channels, all of that sort of stuff as well. One thing that is new though is around OneDrive. So again, this is the new capability that we have through here. If I click on OneDrives, I can see all of the OneDrives that I have within my organization. Now this is a demo tenant, so we've only got 12. Simply because we don't want to pay Microsoft to license a demo tenant. But you probably have tens or hundreds of thousands. But the idea is, again, from a single entry point now, I can see all of the OneDrives that I have within my organization. I can see all of the owners, the risk rating, the policies, which we'll talk about, and these things called insights. And what we really like about these insights is, again, the whole idea is instead of us just giving you data, how can we help you make decisions easier? So these insights are things like, hey, this person has a high amount of storage, for instance, or they've got a bunch of links that have never been used, or maybe they've delegated the owner to someone else through here. And again, we kind of give you the ability to do that, all of that through here. Of course, I can do simple stuff as well, like I can go and search, for instance, right? So here's Archie's thing, but I can also filter on these items as well. Now, this is a new experience that we're putting into Orchestry as well through here, much more kind of powerful filters within the platform. So I can filter on things like active or inactive OneDrives, right? Which is really, really useful and really, really powerful as well through here. Again, you can see all of these filters on the left-hand side. I can filter by the type or the size of OneDrive as well through here. So I can quickly and easily go and do a filter by all of the OneDrives between, I don't know, 4 and 16 gigs, for instance, through here. Some lots and lots, again, of really powerful capabilities that we can essentially use through here. The other thing which I really like, and again, this is new, is filtering by insights. So again, our whole philosophy philosophy with Orchestry is we don't just want to give you data and you have to look at the data and work it out. We can kind of tell you what that is, right? So if I'm really interested in understanding, well, do we have any OneDrives which have got links older than a year, for instance, I can go click on apply, and here are those 3 people, right? Super neat, super powerful through here as well. Of course, I can download any of this and export this to CSV. So again, I can go and export these items as well through here if I need to do more analysis on them. And I can also perform actions. The other types of reports, again, lots and lots of good stuff here. So all of the OneDrives, all of your inactive OneDrives, really, really useful. We find a lot of customers have inactive OneDrives because, again, they're people that have left the organization and the OneDrive's just basically sitting there for forever. We can see, whoops, all of the OneDrives which are unlicensed. Again, a huge thing for a lot of organizations. I think someone just mentioned within the chat, what happens to unlicensed OneDrives? This is a huge challenge for a lot of organizations, so we can help you identify those pieces as well. The big one is around storage and content. So again, really easily to help you understand how much storage is used, allocated, the quota, and the number of files. And of course, one of the huge ones is around sharing links, right? So really helping you understand all of the different sharing links that you might have within an organization's OneDrive. And again, unlike, let's say, SharePoint Advanced Management, which is just the sharing links that were created in the last 28 days, this is all the sharing links that were ever created. I can also drill down. So I can go into here, and again, this is a new experience through here. I can go and view information around the OneDrive, when the last activity was here, the quota, the number of files, the number of sharing links as well through here. Couple of things that we're also exposing. We crawl a lot of information within Orchestry. We don't think that we have to show everything because some of it just frankly isn't that useful to most people. But if I click on view properties now, you can actually do a search for all of the properties that we crawl and we have as part of our metadata that we capture within here. So again, pretty interesting, right? That I can go in and I can search for these. So I'm interested, let's say, in the site created date, for instance, I can just quickly go in and find that. So a really quick and easy way for you to be able to find the information that you need. The big thing, though, again, is around sharing links, right? So for us to give you the ability to see all of the sharing links that are within a person's OneDrive is really, really, really beneficial because, again, this is where oversharing happens, and this is where some of the challenges that organizations have. And again, this is built on a similar sharing experience that we have within Orchestry. I can go in, I can filter these as well through here. So I can say, show me all of the anyone links, for instance. There's a bunch of those. I can click on these, select all of them, and I can do an action as an admin to maybe delete all of these. The other really nice thing, if you are doing a cleanup for OneDrive, is our Smart Actions feature. So this ability, again, for us within Orchestry to kind of guide you through that process. So instead of you having to go and look at 3,000 sharing links across 500 or 5,000 people, you can quickly go in and just use our Smart Actions and our sharing links to be able to resolve all of those pieces through here. Now, this is all good from a reporting standpoint, but as you folks know, as admins, you're not going to be going in and trying to look at people's OneDrives, and you just don't have time for that, right? So how can we automate the process of getting our content or our OneDrive owners involved in the review process? So the second part of our OneDrive story here is called our OneDrive review policy. If you're familiar with Orchestry before, we have lots of other types of policies that we have, things like archival policies and review policies. But the OneDrive review policy is a new policy that we've created. And it's a little bit different than the current ones because of some of the options that we have. So let's talk about 2 scenarios. Let's say, for instance, you've got some carnage within OneDrive, and you basically want to say, listen, every 6 months, we want all of our people that have OneDrives to go through a review process. So again, these are really easy to create. I'll go to one that I've created earlier. I can give it a name, a bit of a description, same sort of thing. We've got steps that are available through here. You can give your folks the option to whether they want to enable their OneDrive to be available in Search and Copilot. You can give your folks the option, the ability to maybe do a one-time purge of content or set a new maximum limit. For those organizations which are struggling with people blowing through their OneDrive storage, this is an amazing capability because, again, you can do it as an admin, but the nice thing is you can maybe go and ask your OneDrive owners, hey, what we're going to do is do a one-time cleanup, that we're going to remove everything except the most recent version, and we're also going to set a new maximum limit. And again, these limits here are based on the new modern versioning capabilities that you have. And it's a nice way to be able to go and do that back in time. Remember, if Microsoft, if you apply this new maximum limit, it's only for things going forward. Orchestry allows you to do that stuff going back. And again, because we're sending it to our owners, you can give them the ability to skip this, for instance. So maybe they don't want to do a purge. You've got the ability to give them the ability to do that. Or if you don't enable this, they're going to have to do it. So you've got some options through here as well. And the last thing from a sharing perspective is, again, the same capability that we have around a sharing links review. So again, you can send off a notification as part of this 6-month thing to say, hey, every 6 months, you also have to go and review all of your sharing links through here. And I'll show you what that looks like within Orchestry, because it's a much different experience than what Microsoft 365 offers. And the reason is the Microsoft 365 experience, and I'll kind of show you what this is. And again, it's not available for OneDrive, first of all. It is available for SharePoint sites. But when you do what's called a site access review for SharePoint Advanced Management, and let's say someone has, a couple of hundred or a couple of thousand sharing links, a content owner gets this, right? And they are supposed to go through each one of these files and click on manage access and do that and maybe stop sharing. No human being on earth is going to do this. It just doesn't happen, right? I mean, we've seen that with our data. It's really, really difficult. So what we've tried to do with Orchestry, let's go back here, is again, I'll show you what this experience looks like, but they just choose categories, press a button, and it's done. Really simple to drive that execution of that particular policy. Now, what is different, folks, is how we can execute this. And these are two new options, one new option that we've put within Orchestry. The first one is what we typically have, which is a regular cadence. So for instance, if your governance policy is going to be that every 6 months, we want people to go through a OneDrive review, you use the regular recurrence, right? Every 6 months, we're going to send it to an owner. They're not going to respond to us the first time because people are like that. So we're going to try, send them once every day, three amount of times, pretty simple stuff. The other one, though, is an event-based trigger. And you're going to find this more and more within Orchestry because we think the idea of capturing events is really interesting. And of course, for OneDrive, the most kind of obvious event is when someone goes over storage, right, as well. So again, we can also trigger this as well. So now you can set up a OneDrive review. Let's say you don't want to be as maybe proactive, or maybe, you want to just say, well, if someone's quota goes over 75%, then we can trigger this as well. And again, we've got a lot of really nice smarts here as well, that there's a bit of a throttle, because what you don't want if someone's gone over 75% and you just keep harassing them every single day. I mean, maybe you want that. Most people don't. So we have this kind of throttle trigger as well through here. So really, really interesting. You'll see this more within Orchestry, but I think this is great, particularly around storage size. We might look at some other options later on through here as well. And the confirmation, again, so really easy to create these review processes, right? Or these automations. And again, very easy to go and apply them. So I can go select these folks, click on apply, assign an automation through here. I'm not going to do that. Click on apply, and we'll assign all of these automations through here, and they're going to run within the background as well. And again, you always know what's happening within Orchestry because we do a really good job of tracking all of this stuff. So you can see here, again, with this Archie account, and again, this is a demo environment, so this is the account gets hammered, but you can also see, again, when we assigned an automation through here, then they were notified by email, and then they were notified by tasks as well. So you always know exactly what's happening through here. What does this look like from the end user side? Now, on the end user side, again, you'll get an email, but also you'll get a notification through Orchestry as well through here. If I go back to Orchestry here, if I look at the notification side of things, I can go to my tasks through here. Or maybe I have to refresh. There we go. So here are all of my tasks. Again, this is the busiest person on earth here. Don't worry about this, but you can see I'll get a OneDrive review through here. So again, as an owner of a OneDrive, I can go through here. I can view this task. Hey, your OneDrive is ready for review. you're a little bit over storage as well. This is the last time. And then again, depending on the steps that you've defined through here, they can go through this. So again, what's really useful here is the version cleanup. Now, again, in this case, we're giving the user the ability to go and choose what they want to do and choose the documents, for instance. And on this part, the sharing links, this is how we approach it. This person has 3,100 sharing links within their environment, right? There's no point us sending a list of this through here because no one is going to do this because it's a nightmare. But what you can do with Orchestry is just select these, right? And click on finish. Now, I'm not going to finish that because again, this is a demo environment, but that's how easy it is, right? So again, we can really help drive users through that. Of course, you can do that manually as an admin as well through here. So again, that combination of the ability to get the reporting, provide these automations is really useful. And the last thing is as well, you've also got the choice now as an organization to surface these OneDrive statistics to your users through the OneDrive tab within Orchestry. You don't have to, you can, and we give you some really good metrics as well through here. But what's really nice is if you do this, maybe you want to give your OneDrive owners the ability now to manage their own OneDrive links, right? It's an option. You don't have to use it, but again, it can be a really good way to do a cleanup as well through here. All right. Now, I've been tardy here because I haven't been looking at the chat through here. I'll keep going. Review. Quota, I think we're good. Quota level. Okay, we'll see. I'll answer these later on. Okay, let me go back to the presentation here, folks. This is much harder doing this with one person. Let me share this. Share this. Let's go back here. Let's go back here. No, that's not it. Hang on, folks. Hang on. It's all going wrong here. Let me present this. Please stay tuned. All right, perfect. So let's do a bit of resume. Okay, so we've gone through all of that. So what's coming up next? Thank you. Okay, there's a lot of stuff coming up within the OneDrive piece as well. So bulk actions for admins are coming pretty soon. We want to do kind of more of a tenant dashboard as well through here. As we do more permissions reporting, you also see that go into OneDrive as well through here. We also have heard a lot around OneDrive offboarding, right? So again, what happens when how to offboard a user from OneDrive? There's like a number of steps. So someone can go in, maybe strip out all of the sharing links, get rid of all of the previous versions, maybe move that content outside of OneDrive to like a central SharePoint location or whatever else, and then apply retention to it as well through here. So again, we're gonna have some capabilities going for that as well. All right, next thing, everyone's favorite topic, license optimization. Now, who here understands Microsoft licensing? If you just want to raise your hand or put a comment within the chat. Exactly, no one does, right? So let's keep going here because this is a black art. And I'll be honest with you, spending the last year looking at this with the folks here, we thought we kind of understood Microsoft licensing. We then quickly found out that we didn't understand Microsoft licensing. We also found out that Microsoft also doesn't seem to understand Microsoft licensing as well. So don't worry, we're all seem to be in the same boat here. Now, what we heard from a lot of organizations and some of the data, again, licensing, understanding who has what where is really, really difficult. It's kind of scattered all over the place through there. It's kind of a little bit difficult. And we found with a lot of admins, right, they were just working from really rough estimates. And again, Microsoft licensing is getting more and more expensive, right, every single day. I'm sure everyone's heard the rumors about the E7 license, right? I think they should just skip E7 and go to E9 or E11 and make it like $500 a person. But that's my opinion. But again, right, you don't want to be paying Microsoft for things and licenses that you don't need to. And when we talked with our users, we found there was kind of 4 main things that we found. The first thing is understanding what type of licenses you have. The second thing was, again, kind of redundant licenses providing no additional value. We saw a lot of this. The amount of customers and people that have multiple licenses assigned to a person where they don't need to is really high. What I mean by that is, let's say you have a person and they have an E1 license, right? And you also give them an E1 and let's say a P2 because you want some of the security capabilities around that. Well, then you upgrade them from an E1 to an E5, but you don't remove the P2. Well, you don't need to have the P2 because the E5 already has all of the capabilities that a P2 does, for instance, right? And we see that over and over again. And it gets more complicated because, of course, the capabilities and the features that Microsoft puts into the licensing also change. So it's really, really difficult to try to understand what's going on. So we see a lot around licenses are inactive or disabled accounts. We see that a lot. Now, some of it you might be doing by choice, for instance, to hold people's OneDrive content forever, but that's not really the case most of the time. And we saw a lot of people buying SKUs and licenses, they just don't use them, right? And again, you're not really notified, you're not really proactive. And let's be honest, folks, being an M365 admin is hard enough, let alone trying to understand the murky world of Microsoft licenses as well through here. So we wanted to help, right? How could we help? And again, we found that Microsoft offers no native tooling really to proactively guide optimization either. They're not going to provide any tools to make this easier, folks. Come on. They are a business after all, which makes sense. What's the result of all of this? Tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars basically wasted annually, right? So invisible and unquantified. So we've created something for you folks that hopefully could help. So the first thing is what we call the license dashboard. So again, you can see all of the licenses, assigning, unassigned, all of those pieces as well through here. We do a lot around user assignment analysis as well. My favorite feature that we do at the moment for licensing, and there's much more coming, is around what we call overlap license detection. I think this is super neat because again, we can tell you dynamically, do you have users that have licenses that they don't need to? So an E5 and a P2, or an E3 and a P1, for instance. Or some people have a Copilot license and other things. All of those weird combinations, we've spent a bunch of time creating this whole thing to try to understand how these things match together, and we can present that to you as well. The other thing that we also found, everyone, what they pay for licenses is quite different. I know this might be a shock to some folks, but folks, negotiate your license prices because we've seen vast differences in how much people are paying for licenses. So of course, we can't just give you the general license cost. You can add your own exact licensing costs in there to help you understand what it is. And the last thing as well is, again, right, you're already paying Microsoft for this stuff. Reallocate that stuff into the good things. So don't pay Microsoft for licenses that you're not using. Reallocate it. Reallocate it to Copilot. Reallocate it, I don't know, to Teams Premium. Reallocate it to pay as you go, for instance, something, right? But again, Microsoft is, really good when we've showed them some of their customers. We're like, listen, these customers are paying 50, 100 grand for no reason. Well, let's take that spend and move it into something like a Copilot initiative or Power Platform licensing or whatever else that is through here. So a couple of things that you'll see if you're an Orchestry customer. And if you're not, what I would do, because I'm like this, I wouldn't recommend being like this. It's not a good way to live a life, but I would get a trial of Orchestry, put it in, and just take this information from a licensing perspective and see how much you could save. Because we do have 28-day free trials, and you'll see all of this information through here if you want to. It's a great way to be able to help kind of the justification of licensing or costs. I know you folks aren't going to do that because you're not like me, but trust me, get a demo if you're interested in your licensing footprint. We can help you out. So the dashboard shows you your overall spend. We're going to show you some optimization opportunities as well through here, some Copilot opportunities as well, and some kind of license information in terms where you have assigned and everything else. Really nice thing, you can drill down into these as well, particularly around inactive or disabled users. Super useful. I'll show you that in just a moment. The last thing that I really like is overlapping details. This to me is one of the killer features that we've put in because you see a lot of customers have these overlapped licenses. The most common ones we're seeing is E3s and P1s or E5s and P2s, right? Again, you don't need a P2 if you have an E5, because all of the capabilities in the P2 are already in an E5. You probably don't think you have that somewhere, and you probably do. And the last thing that we also have here is you can put in your own cost, and you can choose what licensing we actually use in the analysis. And that's actually really useful as well for you here. All right, let's jump into a demo, folks. Grab a sip of water. All right, let's go back in here. Okay, so first of all, let's go to the demo thing here, licensing. If you ever work with licensing, you probably know this is kind of problematic. So you have to be a global admin. You have to go into here. You look at your products. You look at your licensing, all of this sort of stuff that you have through here. Again, it's a little bit kind of difficult to use. It's also very slow for some reason. I don't know if other people have this. This is just our environment through here. But again, you know, you can kind of see what licenses you have and what's purchased. But if you want to see which licenses are assigned to individual people, you have to go elsewhere. And again, it becomes difficult to understand what's going on as well through here. So how do we do this within Orchestry? So let's go back to Orchestry. Let me click on these two things, get rid of these. All right, let's go to licenses here, and let's look at the dashboard here. So this is our first port of call here. Now, again, this is a demo environment. So there's not much in terms of licensing through here. The numbers aren't going to be probably as impressive as what you have in real time, but it gives you an example of some of the things. So the first thing that we can see is the cost, so the overall spend and the total opportunity. Now, for current Orchestry customers, you'll see the opportunity in some of these pieces without needing to upgrade to enterprise. But if you really want the juicy stuff in terms of like the overlaps and the inactive users and all of that sort of stuff, we're making that part of the enterprise SKU through here. So this kind of dashboard gives you a really nice overall view and kind of what we think is the opportunity for some savings within your licenses as well through here. I can roll down as well, again, to see, you know, the total number of licenses that you have, the kind of breakdown by SKU, all of that sort of good stuff as well through here. We also have a number of different licensing reports that we have as well through here. The first thing which I really like is this licensing overview. So this kind of tells you exactly all of the licenses that you have, the cost per license, and how much that total cost is, right? Really simple, really easy. I can go into here. I can even go and search for this stuff, right? Really fast, really powerful, really, really easy to be able to use that as well through here. First thing I want to talk about is inactive and disabled users. We see a lot of this, right? Organizations that have inactive or disabled users that still have licenses applied. So again, we can go and show you all of these people. I know that people have been asking about an export function that is coming very, very, very soon. We don't allow you to action this just yet. We probably will within the future, but at least this gives you a report and it shows you the licenses that are assigned, the last time this person logged in through here, and also the total amount of savings that you have through here. So again, this I would say would be your first port of call if you're looking at your licensing, just to try to understand the types of licenses that people have. The second one is around your unassigned licenses. So again, I think we do a really good job of showing you, hey, you've got a bunch of licenses that you've purchased, but maybe you're actually not using them. And again, this can be found out of the box in M365. It's a little bit more difficult, but again, this is a really good way for you to be able to see, this is the name of the license, this is the description, how many you've purchased, how many you haven't assigned, and potentially the amount of possible savings that you have through here as well. So again, really, really powerful and really, really useful. The one that I like the most, though, is this possible unnecessary overlaps. This report to me is really, really cool. And the reason for that is we see this a lot in organizations. So what we're trying to do is to look at all of your users, look at the licensing they have that are affected through here, and basically say, listen, you've got someone who's got a, in this case, let's look at this particular gentleman, an E5 and an F3, right? So again, we're going to give you the ability to say, well, you've got, you know, a number of people which probably have overlaps, and here's the saving for the overlap. So let's go into Archie here. People don't know, Archie is my French bulldog. He's also behind me in a photo as well. So now we can see again this license overlap details. So Archie here has 2 licenses assigned to them. They have a business premium license and a business standard license. Now you think this doesn't happen, folks? This happens a lot for people. So what we say is, here's the 2 licenses. We show you a comparison of features. So you can actually see that business premium has so the broader license set, or the primary license, is the one on the left-hand side. We'll show you exactly the matches of capability as well through here. But what we also do is we say that, listen, you can get all of the same functionality of Business Premium. You should really review this Business Standard, because basically they don't need it, right? So for instance, what you're going to find in this case is a Business Premium has all of the same capabilities that a Business Standard does. So you don't need that. Now, we're going to do a little bit more work around this piece, but this is incredibly useful, because even just this report, the amount of people that we see have something like this, like an E5 and an Exchange P1 plan, for some reason, again, you don't need it, right? It's part of the same thing. So again, we give you that ability to see those kind of overlaps. And for some customers, this is going to save you an incredible amount of money. We also see this all of the time. People with E5s and F1s and F3s and P1s and P2s, I think it's just, again, when you upgrade licenses, you didn't go through the thing of basically being able to remove them. That's all fine. But again, you can kind of see exactly what's available. So for some reason, in an E5, you don't get an Exchange online kiosk, but it doesn't really matter, because the E5 has got much more Exchange capabilities as well through here. So again, you'll be able to see kind of all of these matches and all of these differences as well through here, which is really, really useful. Again, we didn't realize that some of these plans have so many bits in it. It's why it's so complicated to understand this stuff. We think this is a pretty good way to help you understand like what the difference is and what the match is as well through here. But again, what we're going to do is do a little bit more work on this. The final thing around the licensing side, and again, gone through enabled, license, all of that sort of stuff. The final thing on the licensing side is, where do we get these numbers from, right? And again, a lot of other products we found, they give you licensing costs, but they just take the generic cost, particularly for organizations which are larger. You tend to have some, pretty interesting kind of cost structures in place. So if I click on settings, and if I go to licenses, you can also now put in your own cost, right, for these licenses. So this can actually be your license cost, not some kind of estimation that we're doing within Orchestry. We have default costs available through here, but you can really customize this to yourself. So this is a really powerful way. The other thing you can also do is not include a bunch of licenses that come with Microsoft 365 tenants. Now, I don't know if you people know this. There's a bunch of crazy stuff that Microsoft puts in. I don't know what Windows Store for Business is, but I know that every single tenant on earth seems to have 1 million of these licenses. And it's just there. No one knows what it does, why it's there. It's just there. Of course, you don't want to have that in our calculations, because it makes the calcs look silly. But again, you can go and add or remove these. So you might have, for instance, licenses that you've grandfathered in, or you don't want within these calculations. You can just include or disclude as well these items through here. So lots and lots of really powerful capabilities going forward there. All right, let me go back here, folks. We are going to do another change here, presenting teams. Click on present. Let's go back here. Resume. Yeah, Igor, Ryan's on here. Yeah, not at the moment. We're working on this based on demand, but D365 licensing is even worse than M365 licensing. It's crazy. Okay, so what's coming up next for licensing? I shouldn't say OneDrive management. I apologize. We're going to be able to track the cost over time. We're probably going to give you the ability to add or remove licensing, some group-based reporting also. We're also going to look at candidate suggestions for Copilot. So one of the other things as well that we do want to do is put in some capabilities around Copilot licensing in particular, right? So if you got people and they've got Copilot licenses, are they using it or not? And if they're not, basically go and see what we can do right with that as well. So again, we're going to give you the ability to do that, particularly around Copilot licensing. We think that's going to be incredibly useful also. All right, so they're more kind of generic things. This last one is really more from an Orchestry perspective. It's around role-based access. Again, what we heard from a lot of customers, and thank you for your feedback, because we approach it. Orchestry previously was kind of an all or nothing admin type of experience. as we got larger customers, more complicated customers, they wanted that ability to be able to go and give only certain people access to certain pieces of Orchestry. So that ability to distribute that responsibility, across multiple people within an organization through here as well. So launching with enterprise as well is what we call role-based access. And this is really interesting because now if you have Orchestry, you can now give certain people access to parts of Orchestry within your environment. And it can be really useful, for instance, because maybe you want people from the business to be able to just manage the templates, right? Whereas you as an admin maybe want to see the reporting and manage the policies around lifecycle, for instance. So again, you've got a whole range of capabilities as well through here. Again, the starter and the pro, we just give the baseline roles as we currently have. Enterprise has got the full kind of granular role management. The other things that we also do, which is really nice, this has been asked, is there's a full history and audit trail. So what roles have been assigned to whom and by when? And again, really quick and easy to be able to do that as well going forward. So if you are an Orchestry customer or you're going to be new to Orchestry, there's a page here called Access Control. Again, through here now, you've got different types of controls. Previously, it was just basically the Orchestry platform. Now we're broken it down into health checks, templates, guests, workspaces, all of this sort of stuff as well through here. And then the final thing as well is we're going to show you, right, all of the changes that you make as well through here. So again, what's going to happen, what will happen is if you make these changes, we'll be able to show you those pieces as well through here. I'll go through a really, really quick demo of this as well. Folks, 1 second, and then I'll answer some questions. So again, if I go into access control here, previously with an Orchestry, we had kind of the concept of like platform admins. So we had end users and we had the kind of platform admins. Now you can go and actually change these things as well. So you can maybe view just some people to give them access to health checks, or if you're a partner to tenants. But what's really nice is these pieces as well. So you might just want, let's say, people from your procurement department to just have access to the licensing component part of Orchestry. You can give them that as well. Maybe your Entra ID team to manage guests, you can give them that. Maybe your OneDrive team, if you have that. Again, it gives you that granularity to be able to distribute work across your organization through here. So again, it's something that we've put a lot of effort in. I know for larger customers and even medium-sized customers, it's been really useful. But what is really neat is it does give you that ability here going forward to be able to kind of offload some of the management burden you might be having to other people within your organization. And what we have seen a lot of customers already do is to use RBAC to maybe say to the business, hey, you manage these templates, right? We're good with that. And also maybe for our Entra ID team that they can manage all of the guests. So instead of those folks having access to the entire Orchestry platform, they just have access to what their role defines them to as well. Okay, back to the presentation here as well. Archie is all powerful as well. Chris, when will embedded SharePoint management come to the platform? We know we're looking at it. We're doing some work with Microsoft at the moment around it. We are doing a lot of work around permissions, which I know you'll really like. Probably, I would say the second half of this year, we'll take a good look at the embedded stuff as well, because it's, as you know, it is problematic. Okay, what's coming up next? Not for OneDrive management, for licensing. I apologize, folks. Viewer roles, some admin access roles, some other stuff. The other big thing is around attribute-based access. I'm not going to talk about what this is, but this we think is going to be hugely beneficial. Imagine the ability to not just to give, let's say, someone the ability to view the reports, but imagine the ability to be able to go and view reports for just a particular subset of content that you own. So HR, here's all of your workspaces and you can manage them that way as well through here. Okay, a few more minutes. I'm going to talk about what's coming up next. Right. Where is Greg? I think Greg's on here. And Greg, if you're not on here, I think you have been asking us for a while around multi-geo reporting. Now, hopefully Greg's on here, and I think I have the name correct. I can't tell the customer name, but we've been talking about this for a while. Greg, I know we've been telling you it's coming, it's coming. I apologize. It is being built right now as we speak. We appreciate every customer there. Greg's been an amazing customer because I'll be honest with you, we keep telling him we're going to do it and it gets pushed and it gets pushed and it gets pushed. It is being built. Greg, you are going to be the first one that we are going to probably put into an early access program for this. So we really appreciate your support there. But again, now we're going to bring in the capabilities of multi-geo reporting. We have multi-geo provisioning already. Multi-geo reporting is going to come in, and then we're going to put in multi-geo policy enforcement and everything else through here. So again, that's coming here pretty quick. The other piece as well on enterprise here as well is attribute-based access control, or ABAC. The best way to describe this is it's going to give you the ability to kind of segment out workspaces that you can then give to groups of users. So what I mean by that is we have a lot of organizations that come to us and say, we have 250,000 teams in SharePoint, right? We just want people from, let's say, marketing to be able to go into Orchestry and maybe manage or see reporting on the marketing side for the content or the workspaces that they own. Well, what we can do now is give you the ability to do that. You can create attributes. So you can say all of the workspaces tagged with human resources or from a particular geo or for whatever else that is, you can tag that and give them the ability to see those pieces. So again, there's some really, really amazing capabilities as well through here. The other thing which will be coming to enterprise is something that I know is going to excite a lot of people, is file-based archiving. Now, we've been working with Microsoft for about the last 3 months in their early access program for file-based archiving. It's now, I think, in public, it's coming very soon to public preview, and it's really good. It's one of the capabilities I think everyone's been asking for, and Microsoft has been doing a really good job of this. Now, with the Microsoft capabilities around the file-based archiving, and again, I'm not saying anything that they haven't said, it relies on a user going in, clicking a button and clicking on archive. That's good, but we know users, they're pretty busy. So we're going to create a couple of pieces around what we call file-based archiving, but one of them is the ability for you to go and to specify a rule. So imagine you as an admin to be able to go, every piece of content that hasn't been touched, let's say for 6 months, put it into the archive, which is going to save you 25% of storage. But the other thing we're also going to allow you to do, which is more powerful with Orchestry, is you can say, go, find every document that hasn't been touched for 180 days, remove all of the previous versions, or maybe just all of the versions but the last 10, and then archive it. The research that we've done and some of the early access that we've seen, you've got the opportunity, folks, if you do that and you use Orchestry at that file level, to reduce that storage footprint by up to 90%, right? It's huge because it's a combination of removing versions and then putting it into the file archive thing as well. Now, this is also going to be part of the enterprise plan. The reason for that is, for us to be able to process 500 million, a billion documents and make all this work is very, very intensive. But if you're paying for Microsoft storage or SharePoint storage, it will pay for itself. So it's something that we're working on as well through here. There was another question from someone, David Towles. Will you be venturing into Power Platform Management? David. The answer is yes, we will be, right? We are taking a very close look at what Microsoft is doing on the Power Platform side. The reason that we haven't, David, so far is a couple of reasons. One of the things is that Microsoft is bringing a lot of the Power Platform Center of Excellence stuff like native into the experience. So we didn't want to create the same thing. But they've also released a bunch of APIs which make this a bunch easier. So we kind of view Power Platform and agents as one thing, but this will be coming up. I would say Q3, Q4, but we are going to do some really amazing things around Power Platform. Also, again, part of the enterprise SKU. So all of this stuff is part of enterprise. We're not doing what some of the other vendors do, where it's like an enterprise, and if you want Power Platform, you also have to buy another add-on and all of that sort of nonsense. We want to keep it simple. We want to provide you folks as much value as we can here. And if you are interested in Orchestry, again, get in touch with us. If you are an Orchestry customer and you're interested in enterprise, reach out. We can get you started on an enterprise trial. You can talk to our customer success people as well. They're amazing. But again, if you're not, feel free to reach out to us for a trial. Folks, seriously, go get a trial. Even the licensing stuff is probably going to give you a huge amount of value, right? To be able to do that as well through here. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. I got through it in an hour. Amazing questions. Thank you, everyone, for being so nice during this as well. I'm not going to get on my soapbox thing here, but the world's in a very, very strange state at the moment. It's really awesome to see that people are friendly and kind and all of that sort of stuff to each other. Again, we love the Orchestry community. We love Orchestry for you folks as customers and as partners. If you have any questions, let us know. Lots more webinars to come as well. Really appreciate the time, folks. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you in our next Orchestry webinar, which is, I think, in 5 days' time. And it's not me. It's someone who's probably much smarter than me, which is great. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Take care.